Hi, I'm Dick Simmons, your host for this program. You know, it amazes me the many different kinds of adventure we all run across. Some are daring, some are breathtaking, and some are just plain fun. Now, every once in a while you run across one that is a combination of everything, like this one coming up. It's only 84 miles between Georgetown, California, and Lake Tahoe. But the way we're going, it's going to take us a day and a half. We're going to join a group of four-wheel drive buffs and take off across mountains and rivers on one of the roughest, toughest rides you've ever seen. So don't go away, because I'm certain that this is one you're going to enjoy. Now let's join those fanatics that prefer old stream beds to roads. Our trip begins at Georgetown, a peaceful little California town on the western slopes of the Sierra Nevada mountains. The whole town turns out to welcome our adventurers who have gathered here in every type of four-wheel drive type of vehicle imaginable. They've come to accept the challenge of a 2-day drive from here to the shores of Lake Tahoe, a mere 84 miles as the crow flies, but a dangerous and demanding 2 days by the bumpy route our travelers have chosen. Although there were 1,000 requests for entry into this jamboree, only 300 vehicles were selected. These drivers are thoughtful as well as adventurous. Each picks up a little bag so that he can leave the country just as unspoiled as they found it. Their creed is, let no one say, and to your shame, that all was beauty until you came. Part of the entry fee of $50 is for your lunch that day, and believe me, that's going to taste mighty good in a few hours from now. The first part of the trip is easy, and the caravan easily stays together, but you can bet that it will not stay this way for very long. Now the caravan seems to float along in a soft cloud of dust as they pass along the rim of a beautiful lake. The giant forest seems to almost engulf the drivers as they head into the wilderness areas. The sun slanting through the pines make every twist and turn of the route a special treat that can't be seen anywhere else. Then there's the dust. And more dust. And more dust. About now, our travelers know why high on the list of things to bring along were a bar of soap and a washcloth. Although by tomorrow, many may feel that a putty knife could have done the job better. Getting into the more rugged country, they'll be traveling on trails that are hardly more than wild animal paths that have been helped along by the torrents of melting snow. Just ahead is some welcome relief as we come to the South Fork of the Rubicon River, a river that spills down the mountains to join the Sacramento River. To their dismay, they find the bridge has collapsed. Well, that's no obstacle. The drivers remove the fan belts from the engine so the water won't splash all over the ignition system. We surprise a poacher who can go fishing every day of his life without benefit of rod or reel or fishing license. Then it's into the water, carefully feeling their way across the stream, hoping that a lurking rock won't scatter their transmissions across the bottom.
The other, the jeepers cross. No matter what sort of trouble anyone gets into, he can count on all sorts of help. And here to record the scene is a handy caravan. And if you can't make it one way, well, there's always another. Different drivers have different techniques. Some take it slow and easy. But not this one. He hits the water fast enough to ski behind. And some drivers have to change lanes to make it through. This unlucky driver's ignition is wet and the engine stalls. But ingenuity is on his side. It's a tough drain on the battery, but it turns the wheels, and that gets him out of the current. Once across, its fan belt's on. Now, because of the rocky terrain ahead, it's time to let a little air out of the tires to allow better traction. And as always, the scenery is awe-inspiring. An abandoned World War II four-wheel drive ambulance is a rusting reminder that sometime in the past, someone figured that in this particular country, it was easier to walk than to drive. After hours of bouncing across rocks that couldn't be moved, the caravan is due for a breather as it winds into an old lumber town of Wentworth Springs. Everybody takes time out for a cool drink and a chance to compare stories, almost all of which begins with, well, just wait till I tell you what happened to us. But our cavalcade is only about halfway to the night camp, with the roughest part still to come. One of the idyllic places to pause before tackling the mountain is Coon Lake, a deliciously cool lake with crystal clear mountain waters. The rugged part is all too soon in coming. Easy, boy. Just a little steady pressure on that accelerator, and she'll climb over almost anything. Well, almost anything. Sometimes the mountain, or part of it anyway, has to be moved. And when trouble comes, which is often, there's always a helping hand. Advice, tools, and winches can solve almost all the problems. It's obvious that nothing is going over this big boulder, but that doesn't faze Joe Stansel of Placerville a bit. Joe merely straps a line around the boulder and winches it out of the way. But rocks and streams are not the only hazard. When brakes give out, this can happen. Fortunately, it didn't take this driver long to make up his mind about abandoning ship. Although bruised, he is still all together. 2 more seconds and he might have been dead. Once more, the caravan winds around one of the many beautiful lakes that dot the high Sierras. A little rain has begun to fall, and the trail becomes a quagmire in spots. And what's this? It's the conqueror of the sand dunes and deserts. But these drivers are just as much as home here as they are in the desert. The big rear tires will take them almost anywhere. Time for a cool drink and a chance to wash a few tons of dust into this refreshing stream. This creek is called Little Silver, but right now it could easily be renamed Big Muddy. This pretty passenger seems to be of the opinion that sometimes you can get just too darn close to nature. Now it's the top of the Gravy Chute, the ruggedest, cussedest stretch in the entire trail. Easy does it. It's not easy to drive these vehicles over terrain like this. It takes practice and experience. This would obviously be the wrong time to ask anyone if they would like to do this all over again. Early arrivers at the bivouac have all hiked to the top of the chute to watch their friends fight their way down. You know, after suffering all that misery themselves, it's a little comforting to watch somebody else. And believe me, this is no place for a broken axle. Right 'em, cowboy. Suddenly, it's disaster at the bridge. This oversized vehicle has crashed through one of the timbers, leaving a gaping hole, and the hole can't be fixed, so the other drivers have to go around. Once again, it's Joe Stansel of the rescue, guiding and winching their vehicles across. Finally, the area where they'll spend the night is reached. Out come the provisions and the sleeping bags. There's some aching muscles that need relief from the bumping. There's nothing like the strong flavor of coffee and the makings of a barbecue to chase all the aches and pains and make any troubles a thing of the past. It's no mean feat to feed about 700 people in this remote spot. And how did this get here? Well, there's no end to the ingenuity of a jeeper. There'll be merriment tonight, but food comes first. As evening sets in and the air becomes chill, these large bonfires come alive. And there's an impromptu floor show for those who still haven't retired. The early morning arrives much too soon, but there's still some traveling to be done, so it's reveille for everyone. Fortified by bacon and eggs and hot coffee, the jeepers get underway. Everyone, that is, except this handsome Weimaraner who is going to wait until the last minute to join his master in that crazy machine that bounces all over the landscape. Our friend is still a holdout and is probably wondering where he can catch that train that everyone is always talking about trying. As we said before, these are expert drivers, and they know there's nothing like a second gear and a little body English to do the trick. Oh, well, he can't stay here forever. There's something else you can count on from jeepers: advice. It's cheap and freely offered. Well, it's going to take this fellow a little time, so we'll be right back. Now there's the crest of another mountain. Some stop to admire the scenery, to drink in the wonders of our bountiful wilderness. As the caravan draws closer to Lake Tahoe, the going gets easier, and the air and the trees that border the route are so still, it gives the feeling that life here is suspended, and nothing has changed for 1,000,000 years. But the present catches up with us, as speed picks up and the end of our adventure is just around the corner. The majestic shores of Lake Tahoe, some 6,000 feet high, signal the end of the rugged ride, a ride they'll remember for years to come.
Well, that's the story of our Jeepers Jamboree. Pillows, anyone? I hope you've enjoyed it. That's just one of the many unusual adventure stories you'll see on this series. I know I'll be looking forward to our next adventure, and I hope you will be too. So, thanks for joining us.